everybody feeling fine. There ain't no business like show business, baby.
Show
It is showtime. We're
and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have a good time, each and every one.
What were you nominated for before?
Recounts.
Oh, okay. Also, another very interesting,
Realistic base.
right, and
project.
somewhat period too.
Yes, absolutely. But that was it was only a few years.
But still, it's something that you have to get all of those details right. But can you talk a little bit about this time with Cinema Verite, going back to the 70s and that world and getting that reflection correct?
Well, actually, I had been a really big fan of the original documentaries, and I knew Lance Loud, and I remember I saw them when I was young, the documentaries, and kind of remembered them very strongly. And I thought I could design it without even looking at it. It was so etched in my memory. But then you have to reimagine it for a contemporary audience and understand how the style will translate. So we actually had a really good time thinking about. They had a very fantastic style, very eclectic and very not high style, but eclectic and worldly style. And so translating that was actually a lot of fun. We didn't get to mimic the house completely. We had to actually find a house that gave the quality of the style and the quality of what was going on during that time in California. We scouted an enormous number of houses and found some that were built at the same time as the original Loud House and had not been remodeled. So we didn't actually do remodeling, we did a complete redressing and re-wallpapering, and we actually used two houses, one for the exterior, one for the interior. We had to do a little bit of building to get them to look alike when you entered and exited. But the other thing we got to do, which was actually really fun, was recreate the Chelsea Hotel from that year, the lobby and the rooms. And right after we finished the movie, they decided to make it into condos, and it's not open to the public anymore. So I actually feel like I had my moment with the Chelsea Hotel because of this movie, and that was actually a really fun thing to recreate. That we recreated all the artworks that were in it, and pretty much down to the letter with that.
Details of the fabrics and everything too. I actually was wondering about that this morning. When you have to work with fabric, and especially something that's period, do you sometimes have to
recreate it? Yeah, sometimes.
Did you?
Well, we don't do that. I mean, set decorating and production design, we don't do that quite as much as they do in costumes. But sometimes we recreate wallpaper, and Bobby recreated wallpaper. We didn't really recreate anything verbatim except the artworks, and that was pretty interesting. And we did actually, we shopped and then recreated the bedding and the bedspreads that were in the Chelsea Hotel. But the rest of it, we were making sure that we got the style correct, but we were doing something that was inspired by and not a direct copy. Lots of times when you make things that are direct copies, it makes a kind of dead film, because it's not particularly lively. But one of the things that was really lovely is everybody on the crew at one point would come into the Loud House and say, we had those dishes when we were young, and everybody found their moment of connecting with the history. It was really quite lovely.
Did you find your moment too?
Well, I had a million moments, like I said, because I had been such a fan of the documentaries, and I also, my moment was at the HBO Emmy party. I talked to Bill Loud for quite a while, and he told me that of all the things about the recreation, about Cinema Verite, the family was the happiest about the way we had depicted their style. So I felt I had done my job.
It's the art directors getting to have their annual party and take a look at the best looks of the films that came out during the year. It's an amazing time in movie making where we have all these new tools at our disposal, and the ambitions and appetites of filmmakers are trying to tell a really amazing story and blow people's minds away. And it's just a great time to be making movies.
Sure. What do you think are some of the challenges of the new tools? As you mentioned, I know there's a lot involved with previs. There's a lot going on when you're actually designing a movie that's done outside of the art director's scope. Can you talk a little bit about what some of the challenges or benefits of that would be?
Well, I think that what's happening in movies is that the tools of pre-visualization and production and post-production are all kind of merging to a degree. And what I think you're going to find more and more are films that are shepherded by the art department from pre-visualization all the way through visual effects and post-production, because of the fact that it's a world that is created by an art department, and there's a certain continuity that needs to be maintained throughout the whole process. Movies in general are no longer done in such a segmented way anyway, that all of the different phases are kind of merging together, and it's really becoming a kind of it's a sketch of a movie that through various phases becomes a finished product with all the visual effects and everything added on at the end.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like for you working with the visual effects team when you were designing that movie?
I really enjoyed working with the visual effects team on Captain America. They were very collaborative. They were very respectful. It was a true team effort. They were superb in what they were doing. There were a number of different challenges and questions about how they were going to be doing, Skinny Steve and then Big Captain America and all of the challenging set extensions and creation of virtual environments for characters to be in. And it was quite a wonderful collaboration with them. They were very sympathetic to our needs. We tried to do the same thing for them. Chris Townsend and Mark Soper were our key people working within the visual effects department. Very great guys, and they did just a superb job. I hope they win.
I know that visual effects has changed a lot over the course of even just the last couple of years. Have you noticed a change in the way that you interact with the other departments, or do you find it still very smooth and easy and comfortable?
I mean, I think actually in the old days, it was very bifurcated. Visual effects almost existed as a post-production entity that you didn't interact with that much. And that's where you get those phrases like, we'll fix it in post and all that sort of thing. In the last few years, I think that producers and directors have been more encouraging in integrating the different departments, bringing on visual effects into the prep period way much earlier than they used to be, having all of the questions that arise about how we are going to do our production, what the actual footprint of the production is going to be. Those are all very important budgetary questions for producers now, and so it's kind of forcing us all to work together in a much more integrated way from the beginning.